Vincent Della Sala, a professor of political science at the University of Trento in Italy. Thank you so much, Professor, for being with us here on the NewsHour today. Now, Meloni is widely expected to form Italy's most right-wing government since World War II. And do you think that this is something the EU should be worried about, given that Italy is the bloc's third biggest economy?
Well, certainly there's something to worry about in Brussels today. But I think a word of caution here is necessary. Italian electoral laws are very Byzantine and complex. And what they force is parties into electoral coalitions, but they don't necessarily mean that those parties will naturally congregate to form a majority. Now, in all likelihood, Meloni will, with her two electoral partners, form a government. How long that's going to last is really an open question, and I think a question a lot of people are asking themselves today in Italy. I sort of disagree with the previous person who said, "Well, finally we have certainty." We need to remember that after the 2018 elections, the Lega of Salvini broke with his coalition partners that only a few months before had fought an election with to form a government with a party that they had openly campaigned against, and that was the Five Star Movement. Now, that's not likely to happen immediately, but we can imagine that given how poorly the other two parties in our coalition did, there's going to be a lot of turmoil in those parties.
So you don't think that we have a strong trio here in this coalition?
It's not a strong trio. It's a strong electoral outcome for a coalition that is highly divided internally, and there's a number of issues that are on the agenda that can risk causing tensions. Now, in the early days, it'll be interesting to see how they divide up ministries, important positions, and so on. But there's a number of key questions that are, and going back to your question about Brussels, that are really important for Italy's position in Europe and in the transatlantic alliance, that the parties are divided on. And I just want to remind your viewers that last week, Silvio Berlusconi said, well, you know, Putin was really had good intentions in the Ukraine, and maybe he just lost his way a bit. And the other partner, Salvini, has come out against EU sanctions, whereas Meloni has said, well, we're firmly behind NATO and the transatlantic alliance. Now, those issues, those are pretty big issues that I think would cause some heated discussion around a table when they start to negotiate.
All right, Professor Vincent Della Sala, thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour and sharing that analysis with us.
Thank you.